we have a representative role. We represent His Excellency the President and the people of Kenya on the interests in matters environment. So on this day, it would be the interests of the Kenyan, the interests of Kenya, the priorities of Kenya on matters to do with environment. And of course, firstly, we know the rallying call. All the Kenyan people need to plant trees, and they have to be able to, we have to be able to reach the target of His Excellency the President of 15 billion trees in 10 years. And of course, the encouragement, like we said to the very gallant students of Kakamega School, is let us start by planting years equivalent to our age. You know, as you mark a birthday, you have to challenge yourself. If you're 50, and Honorable Hamala was telling us today about his age, then we expect that, I'm not saying he's 50, but we expect that he should have reached that number of years and encourage the young people and generations to plant. But that's number one. And of course, there are various other priorities we have as a country. One of them is waste management. We are choking of waste, and Kenyans have to be very, very, forthright and front runners and champions of ensuring that we are able to sort out our waste, manage our waste better, recycle, reuse as much as possible. And in terms of our representation to the United Nations as a country, we are working very hard to strengthen the headquarter function of UNEP in Kenya. Kenyans need to know, the world needs to know, we are lucky as a country to be the host to the United Nations Environment Program, which is a UN global agency on environment, and we are the only country in the global south that is host to that headquarter. So strengthening it means many things. At the moment, we are rallying towards hosting the Plastics Pollution Treaty Secretariat in the UNEP in Nairobi. And one of the things we have to demonstrate as a country is our support towards that, our knowledge towards that, and we need to have that plus other secretariats that will strengthen the headquarter function of the UNEP, and of course strengthening the relationship between the United Nations Environment Program, the United Nations Office in Nairobi, and Kenya. Kenyans need to know the Kenya mission to UNEP and UNON is your embassy. It is your embassy like any other embassy to the UN to champion and push for Kenyan interests in environment and in multilateralism. That is all I can say.
One key we need to note within the sports circle is that Kenya, like Ambassador has indicated, it's a headquarter for the United Nations Environment Program. You also need to know that we have a number of people who find themselves in difficult situations like refugees. And as we celebrate this day, International Day for Development, Sports and Peace, is that Kenya refugee numbers both in Dadaab and Kakuma, they are also human beings like us. They also need certain things, and sport is one of the things that bring us together. As we speak here today, Athletics Kenya, the National Olympics Committee of Kenya, the International Olympics Committee, and World Athletics just completed a program for trials for refugee athletes in Kakuma, and then they came to the second trial in Iten, and this week they have reported in training camps, and these are refugees. So Athletics Kenya is going to support this team to access the competitions, all that are being staged within our country, and prepare these athletes for international competitions in line with the international regulation. This is one way of actually strengthening this aspect of this day. Sport bringing all of us together, irrespective of which country you come from. Whether you're a refugee or you're a citizen of Kenya, we all play together, we all enjoy the sports that we love together.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So for me to just say something in addition to what Maxwell has mentioned, is that we actually are not maximizing our potential as a country, because yourselves, our important fourth estate, is not entrenched and pushing for our agendas on environment and climate change. So you asked a question, and that's a very important question. It is to encourage our media houses, our pressmen and women, very critical voice for our country, to speak on our behalf. And one of them is there are many global agreements, multilateral environmental agreements, for example, that Kenya has been party to. you need to get entrenched and understand. I just spoke about one, the air pollution, plastics pollution treaty, for example. It is under discussion. We are hoping it's almost being passed. But what message are you yourselves aware of? So entrench yourself in learning about the multilateral environmental agreements that Kenya is party to. But let us also know that we need to strengthen the headquarter function of UNEP in Kenya and UNON in Kenya. You really need to understand that it is a huge privilege as a country to have that. And so call on the world to make contributions, increase their contributions as agreed in, paragraph 88 of the Future We Want document in Rio Plus 20, to come together and increase their contributions and strengthen the headquarter presence in Kenya. We don't want to lose. Hatutaki UNEP itolewe Kenya na hatutaki UNON itolewe Kenya. Kwa hivyo, it is for the world to increase their contributions, to increase their support, to strengthen the headquarter function of those very two critical agencies, headquarters, together with UN Habitat in Kenya. And of course, be able to communicate to the ordinary Kenyan to understand that it is a matter of life for all of us to get involved in protecting, promoting, and managing our environment better.
My name is Maxwell Nyama. I represent Athletics Kenya President, Lieutenant General Retired Jackson Tuwe. And just like you've heard from Her Excellency Ambassador Angote and the Director for Africa for Stockholm Environment Institute, we are working in partnership to deliver on key global goals, on key national goals, and also the Federation as one of the corporate citizens of the country and one of the leading sports federation, not just in Kenya but also in the world. For those who follow athletics, you know athletics is the second federation, second to the US Federation in terms of global performance in athletics. So what we have and what we are working together in this collaboration, just to answer the question around air quality and what we are doing around the programs in school, is that as a federation, we were the first to commit to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and there are 5 principles that we have to deliver on, and this we are able to do this through the support of the government and through the support of the Kenya mission to UNEP and the United Nations office in Nairobi, and Ambassador has been walking us through this journey across all the global conferences, be it COP 29 in Baku, Azerbaijan, COP 28 in Dubai, COP 27 in Sharm el Sheikh. So this is a federation that has been consistent in terms of delivering that. Secondly, as a regulated federation of world athletics, we are required to deliver on World Athletics Sustainability Strategy 2020-2030, and one of the key requirements is around air quality. And as you all know, to athletes, air is like their fuel. When it's good, they perform well. When it's good, they train better. So that's why most people ask us this question, what are you doing in environment? But the answer is obvious, because we need good conditions. You need the best performance from our athletes, so they need the best possible condition to have the gadget, to have the air quality monitoring device. This will help us to know the pollution levels. And if it's either the government, whether it's NEMA or whether it's the county government, they are able now to put in intervening measures to address the cause of the pollutions. That is very important for the gadget, and not just for us at school or in athletics. Also the community will enjoy the benefits that come with that. But now to come to the schools more specifically, you know that our talent is nurtured right from the school level. As you know, we have now nationals in Mombasa. For these athletes to perform, for such performing schools like Kakamega High School, we need to ensure we secure the best possible conditions. Such is to put an air quality monitor and be able to address the issues in some of our top schools and make sure that we address the issues around pollution. Again, knowledge to the students to ensure that these are national schools, so the information that we get is cutting across the country. We have had, this is the 4th school that we have in the program, in the partnership between Athletics Kenya, Stockholm Environment Institute, UNEP, and the Kenyan mission to UNEP. So we had Kakamega High School today, and we are very happy for this success. We had Kwanzanze in Machakos, that is in Machakos County, and then we had St. Patrick's High School Iten. As you know, that's another powerhouse school in athletics. That is the home place of David Rudisha, name them. And then we also have Maseno School. You all know these are national schools. These are all public schools serving Kenyan children and producing excellent world-class athletes and sportsmen and women. So, and this journey is continuing from Kakamega. Here we'll be heading down coast to Mombasa to another public school, so that we can ensure we achieve the goals that are set for us.
Thank you so much. I think
for visiting our great school, and thank you, Chief Principal, for having us today. And matters environment are very close to our hearts, because where we are headed and where we are, there is a danger, and you all understand what has been said and what's been going on with global warming. And that is why it is important that each one of us will preserve environment, and especially planting of trees. But I have a different direction I want to take. I'm calling on the National Environmental Management Authority, NEMA, to up their game, because as much as Kenyans have heeded the clarion call of increasing forest cover by planting trees in their homes and on available land spaces, we have a danger, and it's a looming danger because of the eucalyptus tree. NEMA is very fast on going around and looking at buildings and putting excess on buildings, but they should also up their game to go and visit very many areas. We are under threat right now because we have water catchment areas, we have springs, we have water towers, we have all that need to be preserved so that we can still have agricultural land. Because many of the places people have planted eucalyptus trees where those trees are not supposed to be. And as I go, because my work takes me to villages and in every corner of the constituency, I am running in those trees. And it's a danger. We are sitting on a time bomb. Because those trees, and especially during the dry season when we don't have rain, and those areas were the very first areas that will produce maize, vegetable, and food. During the dry season, vegetable in our area in Western was not a problem. But now it's becoming a problem because those areas where we could comfortably plant vegetables have been invaded by this monster called the eucalyptus tree. So that is my call to NEMA, for them to act, and also the administration, the Ngaos, to take up their place so that they can identify these trees, and those people given an ultimatum to remove those trees. And also we can work together with the forestry department, and we are blessed here in Kakamega in our constituency. We do have them here. Part of Kakamega forest is in our area. There are trees that we can grow, indigenous trees, that are very good and very friendly to our soils, and they keep our soils fertile, and at the same time they preserve the water catchment areas. That is my major concern. But as you've heard from Her Excellency Madam Ambassador, we are privileged as a country to have UNEP, because how many places have UNEP? In Africa we are the only ones, and even on the lower side or on the southern part of the globe, apart from Geneva and Guyana, I think, we are the only ones that are having that. And so we should also up our game as a country so that we also meet the number of trees that we are supposed to plant according to the presidential directive that was given.
Thank you. Thanks. Actually, in Africa. Thank you. I just wanted to say that in Africa, every year we lose about 1 million people because of air pollution. I think in Kenya, the government is taken very strong measures against air pollution. As you know, we have the Environment Management and Protection Act. Last year, the parliament passed the air quality regulations. And so the instrument that we have here actually measures a pollutant called fine particulate matter. So fine particulate matter, there are very small particles in the air that, if you breathe, affects your respiratory system and brings a lot of illnesses in the respiratory system. So we are able now to be able to detect the levels of air pollution when it comes to fine particulate matter. And this is very important. I think we're at Kakamega School because of two reasons. One, as a program led by the Athletics Kenya in partnership with the United Nations Environment Program and the Stockholm Environment Institute, we are looking at schools in the country that are excellent in sports activities, but also are champions of environment. So this school, of course, as Ambassador said, it is very well known as a powerhouse for football in the country. It's also known as a powerhouse for rugby, but it's also known as a powerhouse also for environmental conservation. What people might wish to know is that one of the alumni of this school, the late Professor Richard Ondigo, served as the Vice Chair of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change and actually won Nobel Peace Prize in 2007 because of his scientific work on calling to attention the impact of climate change on the world. So we also celebrate such gallant sons of Kenya that have really provided leadership when it comes to the science of climate.
Maybe give us.
Yeah, so the Kenya Meteorology Department actually has what's called the National Framework for Climate Sciences. So I think even here in Kakamega we have a Met department that provides advisories on weather patterns, whether it is rainfall and temperature. And so farmers actually are now able to get this information, even the short-term forecast on their farms, but also, as you know, that the department also provides mid-term forecast for 2 to 3 months. So then farmers are able to know when to expect rain and when they can actually start preparation for planting.
Your name?
Dr. Philip Osano from the Stockholm Environment Institute.
Thank you.
Maybe just
On a very inspiring solar plant that Kakamega School is using. As far as I know, this is one of the few schools perhaps in the country that is actually invested in renewable energy. Now the future is renewable energy. We talk a lot about problems, but we also have to talk about solutions. Currently in Africa, about 900 million people lack electricity. About 600 million women cook using firewood. And that is actually a big problem for, it causes air pollution, it causes a lot of respiratory illnesses to women and children. So I just wanted to commend the school because this is actually something that we have to talk about. I think it demonstrates also Kenya's leadership in renewable energy. You know that the electricity grid for Kenya is almost 91% clean energy. Kenya is a leader in geothermal. Kenya has the largest power plant, solar power plant in Turkana. So I think this is actually a demonstration that even though we have problems, the problem of climate change, there are solutions which are within reach. And I talked to the school and I think they're saving upwards of 400,000 shillings just from every month, just because they have this installation here. So I think we should amplify that story so that the other schools and other institutions in the country can actually learn from it.
Thank you. Thank you.